Hey everybody, it's Lindsay and I'm here today to share with you how I masked off the sentiment to create a cutout in my scene. So I'm using the Two Paper Divas fishing stamp set today, and I've got a piece of 4" by 5¼ white cardstock in my MISTI ready to go. Now I tried to stamp this by hand and I could not stamp it straight for the life of me. This is a longer sentiment, so I went ahead and put it in my MISTI. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up. I can see through the grid lines very easily to make sure it's nice and straight. I've inked it up with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and then I can just stamp that right down onto my cardstock, and I've got a nice straight sentiment. So I went ahead and already trimmed out my sentiment that I've stamped onto masking paper. But as you can see, I've just left a little bit of a border all the way around this and trimmed pretty close to the letters, but again left that border. So it's just going to create a nice cutout in my scene. I'll go ahead and use my tweezers to line this up and just use my finger to press it down. Now once I have that masked off, I'm going to go ahead and put in the fishing pole from the same stamp set. And I have lined that up in the center of my cardstock. And what this mask is going to do is it's going to cut out part of this fishing pole. So my fishing pole will look like it is behind my sentiment, and it's just a nice way to kind of switch up your card, make it look a little different. So I'll just go ahead and stamp that down, and then I've also got a mask for this as well. What I did for this mask, I've just cut out the fishing pole, and then I also cut out the little lure, or what is that? The bobber is what it's called. I went ahead and cut it out separately, and I'll just go ahead and mask that off as well. Now with these longer masks, it does take a little bit of work to get them in the right place. But as you can see, it's not too awfully difficult. It just takes a little bit more work. And then I can go ahead and place that bobber mask as well right over top of that. Now for the fish, I didn't need to use my MISTI for this. I just popped it onto an acrylic block. I can look straight through that and line it up very nicely since it is a clear stamp. And I just put that right on the end of that line so it looks as if it's still hanging on. And then I've got another mask as well for it, and I will just place that right over the top of it. Now when I was doing my stamping and masking, I got some ink smudges on my paper. Now if I threw away every panel that I got an ink smudge on, I would never make a card. So what I do is I just have this sanding block. I've had it for years. This one's from Stampin' Up. But I just lightly sand over the surface until the smudge is gone. And then I take an eraser and just kind of buff out the scratches that I've made on the cardstock. And this seems to work really well for just those little smears that you get that you don't necessarily want to throw the entire panel away for. So once I was happy that all my smudges were gone, I brought in some Salty Ocean Distress ink, and with a very, very, very light hand and taking off the majority of the ink that I picked up with my sponge, I just created kind of a light blue haze around all of my images. Now again, everything is masked off here, and if I would have been thinking, I probably would have went ahead and taken my sentiment mask off. However, I didn't think of it. It looks okay. I just would have rather have had that mask off. But once I was happy with the haze around it, I'm going to go ahead and peel off all of these masks. Now remember, you can save all of your masks. I just pop them right onto the back of the stamp sheet that these all come on. And that way, if I need them again, I've got them right there. If I want to make the same card again, I can use these same masks. You can use them for different cards. They're just nice to have on hand, so you don't have to cut a new one out every single time. So for my little images, I just very quickly colored these in with some alcohol markers. I used red for the top of the bobber, and then I used 2 grays on my little fish. He has scales and fins, so you can see where his shadows would be, so he was very easy to color in. And then I just brought in some browns for the bottom of the fishing pole. And again, I use like a caramel color to give it a little bit of a cork look. If you've ever, seen a fishing pole, a lot of them have cork handles. So I just went ahead and colored that in. And then I used some grays for the main part of the fishing pole. So to finish this card off, it is a masculine card. I didn't want to add any sequins or anything. So I just decided to leave it plain and simple, and I just popped it up using some fun foam and double-sided adhesive onto an A2 white top folding card base. And that really finished off the card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you guys try to mask off some of your sentiments as well. As always, I will leave you with just this close-up and a few pictures. For more information and the supply list, you can head to my blog, craftingwhilecaffeinated.wordpress.com. The link is in the description box below, as well as that eye in the top right hand corner. That will get you there too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy crafting!